it's time to start getting ready for summer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my pre-flight and see where everything's at with the camper. First thing I'm gonna do is start filling up the freshwater tank. Make sure the water pump works. Flush the antifreeze out of the system. The whole works. Oh, I gotta shut the drain. Make sure the drain shuts. Oh, that works. Good. Water in here. So there's gonna be antifreeze in here. Let's all right, let's turn the water pump on. Oops. Well, I gotta clean all this anyway, but we'll shut all this off. Water pump came to pressure quick, so that's good. I did have a concern about this. Let's make sure it's not leaking. I was a little concerned because this thing just spins in here, but it must just be a cosmetic and not part of the seal, because let's look in the drawer. If it was leaking, it would be filling the drawer up right now. And the drawer is dry. Alright, so that's good. Let's go ahead and get this out. Get the cold water empty. Toilet doesn't matter as much, but let's go ahead and do it. All right. Go ahead and do this. Alright. One thing I changed a long time ago is this used to have a key lock on it, which of course you hardly ever use the shower. And so it just rusted, and so I figured there's no need to have a key on this. Somebody wanted to tamper with my water, they have access to the fresh water right over there. So let's go ahead and get this out. Alright, so I'm going to fill this all up, and then I'll add a cup of bleach and just let it sit for several days before I drain it. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop this open. And this is the 12 by 12 vent cover I put on this thing so that I wouldn't have to take screws out every time I wanted to get in here and work on things. Let's go ahead and open this up. Open this valve and open this valve. Alright, so now we're filling the hot water heater, which, you know what I'm forgetting? I haven't put the anoid rod in yet. So, looks like this rod, I guess, still has some life in it compared to some I've seen. You know, the only thing is, these threads over time are really getting corroded. There's got to be something you can do with that. Like, still brush it or something. Let me see what I can do to clean that up, because that's a little disconcerting. So I'm going to be a little creative because I don't have everything I need here. I could go to the hardware store and get a small wire brush or even a small wire wheel that I could get in there with, but that would, you know, make sense. So I'm not going to do it that way. I'm gonna try this. Just because it's kind of like black in there, right? It's, you know, I'm gonna just use a toothbrush and some toothpaste that I've got right here. Let's see if that'll clean it. Here's what it looks like. Now, it actually is coming clean, so you know, probably if you just made this part of the process, I'm not sure what people normally do, but probably cleaning these threads after you rinse your tank each year might be a good idea. I should start doing that, because if it hadn't got this bad, this is already 3 years old, if I hadn't let it get this bad, it'd probably clean up a lot quicker. Especially if it's right after the end of the season instead of sitting, you know, all winter long. It's coming. I still got a ways to go, but it is working. All right, well, it's better. Not great, but better. But I'm gonna have to stop for now. I think I got it good enough. It's better than it was, and that was working the way it was. So. But I'm going to have to be more conscious of keeping that clean going forward. I wonder if I put some petroleum jelly on this, if that would help things at all. I should search YouTube for that and see, huh? I'm going to go ahead and rinse out the hot water heater. This is the tool I use for that, and you just stick it in like so. When it's on, you just spin it all around in there and spray in there and let the water flush out. That's how you clean it. Now, if you watched my videos where I was testing this stuff out on the surface rust on my truck, you know I had really good results with it. So obviously I wouldn't want to spray this in the water tank, but after I put the anoid rod in, I went ahead and sprayed it on the outside, and I've been brushing it, let it soak for a little bit, and I've been brushing it with the toothbrush. So not great, but look how much that spray has taken off of the corrosion that was on here. I'm going to go ahead and hit it one more time and then let it just soak. Alright, well, that's a heck of a lot better than it was. One other thing is always just make sure this is on off in here. Make sure this is always to off, unless you're actually intentionally wanting to use the electric. This was set to on at one point, and then one time the switch got thrown accidentally inside, and there was no water in the tank, and it burned up the electric hot water element. There we go. It's trying. Why isn't it staying going? That's really odd. Could just still be air in the lines? I don't know. I just never noticed it do this before. That's not good. So actually, let me come in here and do this. I think there's just air in the lines. So do I hear any gas? I don't hear gas. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this to light. Awesome. Like that one. Cool. Like that one. Alright, so they all burn good. Turn these off. Let's do the oven. Now, what I discovered a long time ago is that when this thing has been sitting for a whole season, it sometimes will not ignite. So I'm going to just do it by hand. Alright, get it going here. Alright, so once you've ignited it once for the beginning of the season by using a lighter, it should be fine from that point on. Let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. So it's completely off, no pilot or anything. Put it over. And there, yeah. See, now it works. So the first time of a season I've noticed that you generally have to light it manually. But once you do it once, it will work. Yep, every time. So, there you go. And to light for the range is pretty easy. You push in, turn the knob to where it says light, which is right there, and then just ignite it. But for the oven, it's a little different because there's no labeling, at least on mine. So you push in, you turn it to there, and it'll fall into a place here, and you hold it. And then while you're pushing this in, then you light the pot up with that. But so that's how you do the oven. All right, so oven's good. So now that we've got some of the air out of the lines, let's try the hot water heater now. Let's go check it out. Lights. Yep, there we go. So that's all it was you just got to get the air out of the lines. We're good. Alright, so let's make sure gas is working. So I got the refrigerator on. Check light goes off. That means it does have gas. Let's turn this to gas mode. So basically you put the button out, auto light goes off. As long as that's on, pushed in and on, and then this is out, that means it's going to run on gas. So we'll just let this run. There is no check light, so that's good. And as long as it gets cold, we know the refrigerator's good. So now the next thing, which I already turned on to check that, was the fan. And fan is working well. We can turn that off for now. Close the vent. And we know all the valves work, so that's good. Okay, we can shut this now. I know this works. Lights working, all that good. Let's check all the lights, see if we need any new bulbs. Looking good. Awesome. One thing about a nice small camper like this, you don't have a lot to go through and check to make sure everything's working. So now let's try the air conditioner. Vents look like they need cleaned. So we'll pop this out and get these vents cleaned. Be aware, when you take these out, they can break. And guess what? You can't just order replacements. Not that I've found. The only reason I have some extra is because I replaced this whole thing, which came with new ones, but otherwise I would have been out of luck. So let's take these off, and ooh, really dusty. We'll go ahead and get these all rinsed off. So put the dirty side down, of course, so you can just blow the dirt right off. Let's test the AC. I hear the compressor kick on. Means the easy start. All that's working as expected. Ah, there it goes. Starting to get cool now. So we'll let it run for a little bit, make sure it gets really nice and cold. Alright, so we'll test the heater. Not that I heat this time of year, but just want to check everything. Definitely blowing out heat. Now, let's check the inverter. So we'll go ahead and turn this on. Let's unplug. Oh, lost everything. I got to turn the battery on. We have power to the AC outlet, so that appears to be working. Let's plug a few things in here. Alright, we have the DVR on, we have the little dog monitor camera on, we have power to here, Alexa's trying to come on. So we have AC power off the inverter. Let's try this light here. Alright, cool. So we have power off the inverter. So inverter is good. Let's go ahead and turn it off. Go ahead and check the tank heaters. Okay, tank heaters are on. There's 3 tank heaters, each one's about 0.7 amps. So this is how I can tell real quick that all 3 heaters are working. I just use an ammeter to tell me. Obviously, if only 2 heaters were working, it'd say 1.4. So there you go, tank heaters are working.
25K country cash, and she has plans.
Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you so much. I need to.
All right, radio works.
Oh my God.
One last thing to check. Let's see how the batteries look. 100% charge. Well, they're plugged in right now, so that's why. Remember, if you have any lights on in the camper, they are going to be sucking that power from the battery first before the converter even comes into play. So you're draining from the battery, and you're going to drain it all the way down to about 13.2 volts before your converter is even running. So if you have your batteries connected with this little switch right here, you are going to be using your batteries even if you're plugged into grid power. So be aware of that. So I'm going to turn these off because there's no reason to have them plugged in right now because I'm connected to grid power. And so that'll allow them to charge from my solar panels. I do have a lithium compatible charge controller from my solar panel. That's the only benefit these panels have. It saved me some money there. For example, if I look at the history, you can clearly see that it topped the batteries off. I'm not even sure why it got to 15.5 volts. It's not supposed to go that high with the charge controller, but it looks like it did. So again, if the only charging capability you have for your lithium batteries is the solar panel with a lithium compatible charge controller, those will at least, even with 100 watts, it will at least top off your batteries and get it to the voltage it needs to be to have the cells level. So if you want your batteries to be topped off, make sure that key is disconnected until you get to your destination. If the batteries are already below 13.2 volts, then go ahead and leave the key in. It'll charge from your vehicle as you're driving down the road. It'll charge when you're plugged into shore power. But again, if it's sunny, once you get to 13.2 volts on your battery, make sure you do the battery disconnect from the camper so your solar panel with the lithium compatible charge controller can charge it the rest of the way, or it will never get beyond 13.2 volts. I need to lube the slide rails, and I also need to inspect the caulking all over the place on the roof, make sure none of it's dry and cracking and all that good stuff. So I have the rubber seal conditioner for the slide outs, but I haven't been able to find the silicone spray that I use for the slide out, so I'm gonna have to find that. But so right now I'm going to just go ahead and treat the rubber seals. It's getting a little crinkly here. But see, it's still soft. It's not hard. So I think we're okay. I'm probably going to put a little bit of caulk over there on that one area. It looks like I must have hit a branch or something. It might have pulled it up a little or something. But otherwise, I think the caulk is looking pretty good so far. Pretty decent. It's pretty much feels as pliable as when it was brand new. Oh, one other thing I've been meaning to do is it's purely cosmetic. These are going to come loose. But again, it's purely cosmetic, but it's going to come all the way up. Now when the sofa's folded up, you can't even see it. I'm thinking I want to just put a little dab of glue where it's starting to fray. So I'm going to cut this off and I'm going to just put a little glue because it's going to just keep tearing if I don't. Again, something I should have done originally when this started to come loose. And I don't even know if this is gonna work. I haven't done any kind, I know this is like a Mickey Mouse way of doing this, but I figure if I just smear this with glue right there and let it dry, it can't look any worse than what it was. I mean, yeah, you see the glue, but still, I don't know, I think it's better than letting the thing just keep unraveling. And I really wish they had the other glue, because I have verified again, this Gorilla Glue is crap. It doesn't stick for nothing. So I'm just wasting my time with it. So unfortunately, just stick with the Loctite Extreme. That stuff has been good. This stuff is like, honestly, it's got the consistency of just using straight silicone. It's like, it's not really glue. It's kind of a joke. It just peels right off. So be aware of that. This stuff is kind of pointless. It's twice in a row that I bought this Gorilla Glue and just realized it's garbage. Like I said, you can't really see it when it's shut anyway, but use a different glue. Use that Loctite Extreme or something. Don't use Gorilla Glue, but I mean, the Gorilla Glue will at least kind of prevent this from fraying a little more, but not as well as I would like. But you can't even see it when it's shut, but it'll at least keep it from getting worse. So just probably something you want to just put a little bit of glue on that regardless. Everywhere else on mine has seemed to hold together. It was coming loose a little bit right here, which I went ahead and took care of, but after 20,000 miles, that's the only parts that seem to come undone. So relatively speaking, this sofa, considering it's probably like Walmart quality futon, only slightly more comfortable, has actually held up really, really well. One of the changes I did was it tended to lean forward a little bit. I just bought these furniture sliding feet, and they have sticky on them, and I just stuck those under there. That raised it so that it's not sloping like this, so it feels much more comfortable with that slope up. Even when you're laying in it, it just feels like at least you're not going to feel like you're going to slide off the sofa. That's the only issue I had with the actual sofa. And then of course we had to fix this because it was put on like crap. So I made this actually an accessible panel that it's on hinges now, and I can just lift it up and I can store my fishing poles and stuff underneath. So look what I found. The slide out lube. I'll go do that now. My goodness, this is taking forever, but this is pretty clean. I got everything off. I got a mattress protector. I took the mattress protector off. It had coffee stains and everything from the coffee that got spilled, so we'll wash that. So vacuumed underneath. Slowly but surely, the floor has been scrubbed. For the most part, all this has been cleaned. I got trash up here now. I still have to clean this area, clean the bathroom, clean the microwave. But then I think I'm done. Oh, a couple other things you should test. Test this. So that's good. And test this. So that's good.